one way to do that. Another way to do that is having all the fields in your LinkedIn profile filled in that they ask to be filled in. And when you go into your profile, you'll see that they'll give you a score. I mean, yes. and they'll tell you what you're missing, right? And so you try to get as close as you can to 100%. And then the third thing you need is connections. If I'm looking at people, the result is going to be driven primarily for how closely connected they are to me. So the people that are directly in my network will appear, not always, but in most cases higher than the people that are connected to me with a common acquaintance, who will appear even higher than people that are not connected to me at all, right? So the more connections that you can make, the more powerful the tool is. It's really kind of interesting that a lot of people default to saying yes now. I mean, I probably get an invitation a day. So it's really not that hard to build your network. And we could make a whole thing out of LinkedIn. As a matter of fact, I think Jen Vandenbrink is coming to present. Yeah, Jen works with me at the Chamber of Commerce, and she's really great at social media, and she presents it better than I do. So you want to come back for that one because it's really great, and it talks all about LinkedIn. And I know that some of you are sort of looking at me like, you know, it's like a whole different world. And others are sort of going, well, I kind of get that. But Jen is really good at kind of boiling it all down at a level everybody can use. Okay. At the Chamber, yeah, exactly. She's awesome. She's really awesome. The other thing, item number 3, is we want to make sure the things we're doing on the web don't contradict our brand. You know, now, people in this room are not probably heavily Facebook users, you know, but you probably know where I'm going with this. I mean, you know, people put stuff out on the web that just is inappropriate, and people look. As a matter of fact, I found out, and maybe some of you have read this, that companies are actually asking people for permission to look at or access to their Facebook account. Isn't that amazing?
It should be legal.
Yeah, but they do.
National Labor Relations Board, look it up.
It's going to be very interesting to see where that goes. Of course, we all know Facebook will be bankrupt next week anyway, according to the news. Yeah. The next thing is that doing one-on-one networking meetings. One-on-one meetings with people is important, and everyone thinks about doing networking meetings with people that can hire them. It's certainly a good idea. Right? Certainly a good idea. You didn't need me to come in. You didn't need to break away from your dinner to come over and listen to some guy say, hey, it's a great idea to go talk to people that could hire you, right? But it is. But there's a whole other type of networking that most people don't think about doing, and it's what I referred to earlier. Thinking about who's going to hear of companies that have a problem, right? Because you could talk to 15 decision makers in a row, and if they don't need what you're selling, you've had 15 social conversations. It's still good. I mean, because eventually they're going to have a need. They may know of somebody that has a need, so it's good. But we have to find a company that needs us. Elevator pitch. You want to focus on the problems that you can solve, not just the skills that you have. And it kind of goes back to the resume conversation that we had before. That you want to think in terms of what impact that you've had. It helps in the resume. It helps in interviewing. It helps with networking. It helps with LinkedIn. So thinking in terms of, did I save money? Did I improve quality? Did I improve sales? And present yourself that way as a solution, as opposed to job titles, particularly if the job title you had wasn't the job title that you want. And then last, that it's better to meet somebody who needs me and does not know me than it is to talk to someone who knows me and doesn't need me. One of the freaky things about networking is talking to people we don't know, right? But the people we don't know are most likely to know of things that we can do, right? Because they have completely different networks than we have. They can have completely different knowledge base than we have. If we always network with people that we know, then the information tends to feed back on itself. It's actually a whole philosophical study called The Strength of Weak Ties. Okay? So that's kind of the hidden job market stuff. It's a lot more freaky, but basically the bottom line of the hidden job market is you got to get out to talk to people, not just that can hire you, but people that have their ear to the ground and just kind of know stuff that's going on, that may hear of leads or may know of companies, and to look for information on the web that can help. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I have read statistics, varying statistics, either 10%, and the best one I've ever seen is 50. I've never seen a statistic that said that over 50% of people send thank you notes, which is really weird because everybody that I ask if they send them always said they do. So it must be 50% of people I've never met, right? But a big difference maker. It's like 80-some% of executives, I don't remember numbers that well, but it's in the 80s, like getting thank you notes. Okay? Everyone does email, nothing wrong with email thank you notes. Handwritten thank you note, kind of cool. You know, in some businesses, really cool. If anyone's targeting relationship businesses like nonprofits or higher ed or healthcare, where people are really, in it for the human value, a handwritten note can make a huge difference. Okay? So thank you on thank yous. You don't have no obligation to be all-inclusive. There's nothing that says you have to include every job in a resume. There's a lot of resumes I write that I leave jobs out. Recruiters get mad at me for doing it, but that's too bad. We want them to call you, right? If you have like a 1 month gig here, 1 month gig there, and it doesn't fit in with the story, just don't include it. The thing is that people don't buy generalists. We think that being a generalist and broad-based skills is good, but people don't want that. They want the skills they want. They don't care about the broad base of skills that you have that aren't what they want. And so trying to be a shotgun and be sort of all things to all people is really a hard thing to sell. You really want to pick how you're going to impact the company. Like I said, you don't have to pick a title, but you have to pick how am I going to impact the company and stake your brand on that. Because then you can do all the things that you want to do. And then you look on the web, you find job descriptions that sound like that, and then that's the language you want to use to describe your ownership role. And then not the things that you did that don't fit that, as hard as that is. All right, well, thank you all for coming.